2 hours and 43 minutes.
What's that?
2:43 yesterday.
See, there you go. You'll be on the plane to Tampa before you know it.
That's unbelievable. 2:43 and 23 runs were scored. That's crazy.
30 seconds.
All right, I guess I won't hear the music, so just so you know.
You won't. You'll just hear me yelling, "Good morning." Good morning, Philadelphia. Welcome in the Bud Light Baseball Brunch, brought to you by Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, powered by Green Legion Radio, 102.5 Fox Sports and Gambler in Philadelphia, WDAS-AM around the rest of the Delaware Valley, or just simply download that iHeartRadio app and you can listen to us anywhere crystal clear worldwide. I'm Chris Sack of Green Legion Radio, broadcasting to you live from the iHeartRadio studios in Bala Cynwyd. This is a little bit of a different approach for a home game, but, you know, hey, listen, short staffing on a holiday weekend, this is what we have to do to make things happen. I'd like to thank Slash for producing today's program, and live from the ballpark, my co-host, my counterpart, the man with the plan, Murph. How are we feeling this morning?
Oh, dude, I didn't know I was supposed to bring a plan. I don't have a plan. I never have a plan. I'm doing well. Yesterday here at the ballpark was a lot of fun. Obviously, you put up 19 runs on the board, and the guys are energized, and the fans were energized. What do we have? 4 home runs yesterday as well, which is always a lot of fun. So, but now they got to go back and do it again, right? You know, you have to win this series against a team like the Nationals. They have the opportunity today to do that. Let's see them go out there and make it happen, get the work done.
Murph is live from the broadcast booth, the radio broadcast booth at Citizens Bank Park today. So we might have some drop-ins. There might be some, past friends of the program might be stopping by. We might get some bunny ear action if you guys are checking this out from StreamYard. We'll see what happens, you guys, if you want to tune in and watch the show as it happens live. Hopefully there's some good stuff to come. Normally I love it when Fransky drops in because normally he has something good to say.
Well, for the record, I have slid a large bureau in front of the door and locked it so that no one can get in. But we'll see. They're very resourceful guys, so we'll see.
We'll find out. Maybe someone drops in Mission Impossible style through the ceiling tiles up there.
Yeah.
This first segment is brought to you by our good friends over at State Farm. Here's the deal. When you combine State Farm home and auto insurance, you save an average of $889. State Farm agent Dave Bavuso is ready to help you combine home and auto in South Jersey and Pennsylvania. Call Dave today at 856-740-5012. That's 856-740-5012. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Average annual per household savings are based on a 2019 national survey by State Farm of new policyholders who reported savings by switching to State Farm. Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements. Murph, it's time to give away some tickets here on the program yet again this week. And I figured I'd touch back on to our childhood. I was having, kicking some ideas around last night as I was contemplating doing the run sheet this morning. And, those formative years as a sports fan tend to happen somewhere between middle school and high school. We have a lot of influences, a lot of heroes growing up. And obviously we find out much later in life that the true heroes are our mom, our dad, who are providing for us, and, police officers and firefighters and, emergency personnel. But when we're children and we're sports fans, it's our sports heroes and those that make every single day watching sports a complete and absolute joy. So I want to touch on those angles there. Our middle school or high school formative years. Murph, I know you got a top 5 for me, but give me one of your 5.
All right. Well, this actually is a little bit before middle school. I kind of ran the whole range because I figured I was a kid until about 29. So I've gone from age 9 to 29. So there's
Is that how long your education at St. Joe's lasted?
Well, yeah, pretty much. It took me that long to get through. But hey, as Larry likes to say, you have to grow up, but you can be immature forever, and then that's something that we all should strive for. So, I that's a little bit of a hint for folks at home in that I've spanned a couple of decades here, but I'll give you the one when I was 9 years old. And he's really the first guy that I remember really understanding, all right, this guy is an athlete. He plays baseball and he's my favorite player. And now he's actually a friend. And it's Greg Lazinski. And he was easily my favorite player. Now, we've talked about that before on the show.
Yes, we have.
Loved Greg. And I think part of it was because we had the same name. And as a 9-year-old, you kind of think that's kind of cool, right? But he hit bombs, and I just started, when I was 9, it was 1980, and they were getting, they were obviously very good over the last couple of years in the 70s. They get to the World Series and win it in 80, and that really kind of solidified my love for baseball and for the Phillies. So Greg Lazinski was my favorite player and one of my favorite people to this day, so he's on my list.
Yeah, see, this is all encompassing too, right? I mean, it's across like multiple generations, multiple people, different ages, different age brackets, different sports. It doesn't have to be baseball. But I'm going to go with my first favorite professional athlete of all time, and that's Darren Dalton. I love Dutch. He was growing up, like 93, that team right there. I was 7 years old that year, and that's where my first love began for baseball and for the Phillies. Dutch, when he got traded away in 1997 to the Marlins, I loved every bit of him winning that World Series there because he was owed that. It was he earned it, but when he went into that clubhouse, and Dombrowski has said this over the years, and Jim Leland, that they never saw somebody walk into a clubhouse and just like be there for not even a long period of time, but just command the respect and sit there and say to everybody, hey, listen, there's too much talent in here. We are better than this. And then they go on to win the World Series in Game 7 against the Cleveland Indians. What a phenomenal person, athlete. It's a shame what happened with him with the brain tumors. But I love Dutch. He was the man growing up before Chase Utley officially became the man.
Yeah. Jim Eisenreich tells a great story because he was also down with the Marlins at the same time that Dutch was, and obviously here with the Phillies at the same time as well. And he tells a story that Dutch was there about 3 or 4 days, and he called a team meeting, and he kind of said what you just said to the entire team. Guys, I look around this room, there's a ton of talent in here, but what the heck are you doing? And to be able to do that when you walk into a major league clubhouse and you're there for 4 days, that is some kind of leadership, and it worked. And they went on to win the World Series. So, yeah, pretty impressive.
Absolutely. Slash, you got one for me over there?
Yeah. So are we sticking just to baseball, or is it all sports?
Whatever you want.
All right, then I'm going to have to go with my man, Weapon X, Brian Dawkins.
Oh.
Always, I know it's low-hanging fruit. He's one of the best Eagles of all time, but growing up, man, I always wanted to be like him and play like him, even if it was just backyard football. No one got hurt, though.
That's a good one. Yeah, that certainly does not fall under my childhood. I covered Brian when he was playing for the Eagles, so I couldn't put him on my list, but it's certainly a good one.
Yeah, the closest thing to anybody really actually getting hurt was Algie Crumpler, which is still the greatest hit I've ever seen in my life. In order to win those tickets, you must answer in the comments section on the Green Legion Radio YouTube channel, the Green Legion Facebook page, or our Twitter handle @Green Legion. Our collective favorite answer will win at the beginning of this final segment. Murph, we're getting out of the box now. Let's talk some fighting Phils. And while we're doing it, we might as well break some news here for those that haven't seen it. Infielder Cody Clemens has been optioned down to AAA. Unfortunately, fortunate. Cody has played pretty well for us over the last couple months without, in the absence of Reese Hoskins and the newly added back to the roster now, Derek Hall, who's going to be batting in the 8-hole today. That's a pretty deep lineup when Derek Hall is batting 8. Last year he was batting cleanup when Bryce Harper went down and he was DHing for us. That right there kind of gives me like the idea that we have 2 cleanup hitters in this lineup now. What are your thoughts on that one, Murph?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all know what Derek Hall can do, and certainly it's good to see him back up here at the big leagues. Cody Clemens, you have to tip your cap to the way he played. Got an opportunity up here and really took advantage of it. Unfortunately, at this time of the year, often it's a numbers game. I know it was a difficult decision for the organization to decide to go ahead and do this. Cody is a very popular guy in the clubhouse, but so is Derek. So, he's going to come right up here and he's going to be, immediately right back in the mix. And they need power in this lineup. You put yesterday aside where they got the 4 home runs, but they do need power. Obviously, Hall can provide that for you. And to your point, yeah, he's batting 8th in the lineup today. And it just goes to show you just how much offensive power this lineup has. And we saw it yesterday again with the 19 runs. They just need to see it a little bit more consistently.
Yeah. So also, I think this is a trial period for Derek Hall to prove that he should be the first baseman moving forward. I know Bryce Harper is slated to probably play first base at some point along the line. But hey, if Derek Hall can play the position and he can hit, this will allow them to use their assets in other ways that, like the farm pieces or, what they're looking to trade away as far as prospects are concerned. I know we've been talking about it and, a lot of people around Philadelphia are thinking about it. Bryce Harper goes to first base and you can just move Schwarber right into the DH role for the rest of the year. And then you're shopping for a left fielder. But, this team right now, if they can get themselves together, if, Trey Turner can pick himself off the mat a little bit here. I know he's been hitting better lately, but it's still not Trey Turner yet. Schwarber is inching closer to the Mendoza line. We're coming around like 190 now. He's got over 20 home runs. Bohm had 2 home runs yesterday. Bryson Stott has been hovering around 300, and then Nick Castellanos has been, incredible. And eventually, at some point, Bryce Harper is going to hit another home run in this lineup. But, instead of maybe having to think about, at some point along the line, maybe they can mix and match Hall at first base and, and Bryce Harper at first base, and they can, co-DH there. Maybe you get an outfield piece that can go and play in left field. Hall can sit on the bench against a tough lefty, and Schwarber, could be the DH that day. However they feel like they need to put it together, but they need to find some things out over the next few weeks, whether they're going to need to add first base or if they're going to add out in left field. Certainly they're going to need to add some starting pitching depth somewhere along the line.
Yeah, I think a lot of these decisions are, first of all, you have to wait to see what's available up there, and if that particular player fits what your needs are. I know there's a lot of talk about bringing in a left fielder. I'm not exactly sure that that's what they'll do. Defensively, if you have Harper playing first base, then you're going to have Schwarber out of left field, and Christian Pache is as good of a left fielder as you're going to find defensively. I mean, you're not going to go out and find someone a whole lot better than Christian Pache defensively. And you also have Brandon Marsh that will be able to play left field as well if you wanted to make that move on different nights. So to me, I think it really is still up in the air. Obviously, pitching is king. If you can go out and find someone that you think makes your rotation better, then I think you go out and do that. But that said, the idea that someone like that might be available is, we'll see. Everybody needs pitching, and
how much is it going to cost too?
Yeah, and that's the thing. So I do not think they're going to mortgage their future to find a fifth starter. I would be surprised if they did that. And look, let's keep our fingers crossed that Christopher Sanchez can continue to do what he's been doing, and then hopefully he's a bridge to Andrew Painter, who maybe late in the season, middle of August, September, can come in and kind of fill that back end of the rotation spot if he's healthy. That would be terrific.
You know how many broadcasts we've done from Xfinity, and we don't get as much, like rowdiness as what we're getting in the background right now in an empty Citizens Bank Park?
Completely empty. There are 3 people over here, probably about 100 yards away from me, and they are so loud. It's unbelievable. It's three teenage girls, and I don't know who they're screaming. Oh, they're screaming for Bryce.
They're screaming for you. They're screaming for you.
They're not. They're screaming at Bryce. He's having a catch down on the field right now. Yes. So I think they've run out of steam. Let's hope so.
Sounds great. So Murph, over the course of the last week, the Phillies have been 5-1. Nice rebound after the kind of the rough stretch that they had there. The 2 losses against the Braves, and then hey, listen, the Mets, did they gift wrap a couple wins for us last weekend? Sure thing. I'll take it all day long, especially that meltdown in the 8th inning, which was wonderful. As the Mets continue to slide in the National League East and in the wild card standings. We're going to talk about the Mets and the Padres coming up in our second segment, as well as Bobby Bonilla Day being yesterday. But the Phillies now are 6 games above 500. They're 11 games behind the scorching white-hot Braves. It's insane how well the Phillies have played over the last month, and they've made up no ground on the Braves at all. Very little now against the Marlins. They're behind the Marlins 3 games right now in the wild card race for the top wild card and for second place in the National League East, and they're right behind the Dodgers and the Giants. This race, listen, we've got 3 months left in the season. We've got plenty of time. The Phillies have found their footing. They're back on the right track, and they've done it against teams that they should be doing it against. This next week against the Rays and the Marlins in Florida, it's going to be a tough week going into the All-Star break, going up against those 2 teams, especially with how well the Marlins have played.
No doubt about it. It is going to be a tough week. I mean, obviously, not looking past this afternoon, take care of business, win this series, beat the Nationals, do what you need to do here. But then, you turn your focus to a Rays team that has been one of the best teams, if not the best team in baseball all season long. And then the Marlins, the one team, that's right ahead of you in the National League East standing. So it's a big week for the Phillies. And I feel like we say that a lot. We have said it a lot over the last couple of weeks, but
just means they're relevant, which is awesome.
Exactly right. You're exactly right. It means that these games matter. We are 82 games into the season, so officially into the second half of the season. And the Phils have some work to do still, but I think you said it right. They've kind of found their footing, and hopefully they can keep it and go into the All-Star break strong. You'll remember last year they went down to Miami right leading into the All-Star game and won all 3, if I'm not mistaken, as they headed into the All-Star break.
Maybe all 3, or it was definitely 2 or 3.
Yeah. I think it was all 3, but I'd have to check that. But anyway, hopefully they could do something similar this year.
And it makes you feel good with the way that they've been playing on the road as of late. I mean, they started out the season 13-23 on the road. They're now on a 9-game heater on the road, which is their longest winning streak on the road since May of 1984. Listen, I know the starting pitching has been great, winning those last 3 against the Diamondbacks, and then going into Oakland and sweeping them, and now going to Cubs and returning the favor. Last year, the Cubs went 6-0 against us. We've taken care of business against them this year, 5-1. But man, I know the starting pitch has been great and the bats have been timely, but is there something that they're doing different on the road that can attribute to the success lately of getting them now 1 game under 500 on the road, which, great baseball teams play 500 baseball on the road and take, obviously you want to have a winning record, decent winning record. You're not going to say, hey, 1 game over 500 is a winning record at home and you're going to make the playoffs, but take care of your business on the road. That's what they've been doing over the last month.
Yeah, and I don't think they're doing anything differently. I mean, short of the superstition that was kind of hanging around for a little while, where they weren't taking BP out on the field, whether it be home or on the road. They kind of kept that going because they kept winning, and so they didn't want to mess with that. They've now since started taking BP on the field again from time to time. But other than that, no, I just think they're playing better baseball. I mean, we've said it a million times. The baseball season is a marathon. It is so long. It's 162 games. You could lose 30 in a row and then still make the postseason, because you're going to lose 60 at during the season regardless. That.
So the A's have a shot?
Well, if they get their act together, but no, probably not. But the point is, you just have to keep looking forward. Looking back doesn't do you any good. looking forward. And I think this team, the veteran guys on this team do a really good job at that. I think the coaching staff, led by Rob Thompson, does a really good job at that. Like, you know what? Flush it. It's over. Friday night, you score one run. Frustrating night, 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position. You waste a good outing from your number 5 starter, but they get over it quickly, and they come back out the next day and they get the job done. Not every team. I think this team learned that last year, continuing it this year.
Real quick before we go to break, the Phillies have the man on the mound today to win this series. Ranger Suarez has been phenomenal. This is courtesy of Crossing Broad's Bob Wankel. Over his last 6 starts, 40 innings pitched, 29 hits, 6 earned, 10 walks, 37 strikeouts, a 1.35 ERA, and a .975 WHIP. Pretty fantastic. Ranger Suarez is just the guy that you want to see on the hill today to win this series in Washington before you go down to Florida. And if you could provide us an update, I wasn't privy because everything that's going on Twitter right now with these rate limits and all that crap. I haven't been able to see what exactly is going on with Zach Wheeler, removed yesterday after 5 innings, 85 pitches. I know the Phillies had a huge lead. Was that just more precautionary, kind of give himself out of his own way after giving up 3 runs in the inning prior?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the only reason he came out of yesterday's game, is because they had at that point,
15-run lead.
15-run lead at that point. Save some bullets, live for another day kind of thing for Zach Wheeler. Get some guys that haven't pitched in the bullpen, Dylan Covey, Jeff Hoffman, get them some work as well. So for all those reasons, that's why he left the game. Had the game been much tighter, Zach Wheeler pitches into the 6th, 7th, probably, probably goes 2 more innings in that game. If they needed him to, but yeah, that's the only reason he left.
Okay, and then your thoughts on Ranger Suarez and this heater that he's on?
It's been awesome to watch. I mean, you really, at this point, feel so comfortable handing the ball to Ranger Suarez and saying, hey, go get us a win, right? It just feels like every time out there, he's in complete control. And it's, if Zach and Aaron and Taiwan could continue, to be solid like they have been, and you have Ranger doing what he's doing, this rotation, it's going to be the reason that they win and get into the postseason if they can continue to do what they're doing right now. We thought this offense was going to be the catalyst, and it still might be, but right now, this starting pitching, this rotation, I think you could put it up against virtually anyone's in baseball, and you'd feel pretty good about what you've got. So it's awesome. And yeah, coming in to win a series on a Sunday afternoon in front of their home crowd, yeah, put Ranger Suarez on the mound for me, and I'm feeling good.
Ranger Suarez's June reminds me a lot of Cliff Lee's June in 2011. It just not the ERA isn't quite there. I think Cliff's was like 0.4, but the performances and the clutch starts that he's given us, it's pretty replicated right there. But hey, don't hang out alone in the man cave for baseball this season. Try hanging out at Cheerleaders with sexy entertainers, $4 domestic beers, Jameson specials, and awesome game day experiences all season long. That's right. Stop in before, during, or after the game, not only to see your favorite entertainers, but also your chance to have the best game day experience. Cheerleaders is open daily from noon until 2 a.m. Coming up on the other side, we're going to talk about a couple teams that are a little bit of a mess right now, between the New York Mets and the San Diego Padres, and how much money is Bobby Bonilla collecting every July 1st until he's 72 years old? We'll touch on that right here on 102.5 Fox Sports The Gambler. This is Bud Light Baseball Brunch, brought to you by Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club. We'll be right back right after this. Yeah. Bryce!
God, that was awful.
Yeah, I know.
And then my headphones went out. It disconnected from the Bluetooth, so
They do know he's a happily married man with 2 children. I mean, come on. Did you see that rumor about Bryce, his car getting stolen on Friday night?
so stupid. So stupid. Yeah, those are the kinds of things I don't know. I'm a cranky old man. I just like, go away. don't even. Yeah. I mean, whether it's true or not, who gives a shit, right? I don't. I'm not saying I don't care that if his car got stolen. I'm just saying, why do I need to talk about that? It's like, why does it become something that everybody needs to be a part of? I don't get it.
Murph was taking Bryce's car for a joyride.
It had nothing to do with Bryce and his car. That's not what happened. It was a completely fabricated story that the internet ran with. Stupid.
Tell us how you really feel, buddy.
Don't bring it up because I don't want to talk about it.
I know.
Yeah. Let's talk.
I got the reaction I wanted out of it because you said shit. We just weren't on air, so it works out.
I know better.
I know you do.
I love it.
We do have a dumb button. Is it still the turkey?
Thankfully, the music is low here today. I didn't give that much thought. I would have had to go somewhere else.
1 minute till we're back.
I don't have a ton to add to the Bonilla thing.
We'll just have laughs. That's all it is.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's just a story that gets talked about every year. And again, it's one of those stories I'm like, I don't care. I don't. Good for him.
But it's a good way for us to laugh at the Mets. I mean, they've already given us plenty.
Team that have done it. They're not.
I know, but they give us plenty of fuel, plenty of fodder.
Right. But I'd rather talk about what they're doing right now.
Oh, we will, as we lead into Bobby Bonilla Day. Welcome back. Bud Light Baseball Brunch, brought to you by Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, powered by Green Legion Radio here at 102.5 Fox Sports The Gambler. We're also brought to you by Premier Window Cleaning. They are the leading window cleaning company in Philadelphia and the surrounding areas. Family owned and operated with 30 years experience. They offer commercial and residential window cleaning, pressure washing, parking garage cleaning, graffiti removal, post-construction cleaning. Every employee is trained, certified, and goes through an extensive background check. At Premier Window Cleaning, your satisfaction level needs to be 100%, as no job is complete until you're happy. With clients like Chop Roberts to the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, you cannot go wrong. For more information and a full list of services, give them a call, 267-534-5198. That's 267-534-5198. Go to their website, wehatedirtywindows.com. That's wehatedirtywindows.com. Murph, I want some injury updates here. Sir Anthony Dominguez, Andrew Painter, Noah Song. What do you got for me on those three pitchers?
Well, Sir Anthony's making progress, which I think is probably the most important right now. So today he is supposed to do what they call a touch and feel bullpen, which he's going to try to throw all his pitches and kind of maybe do an up and down to give himself a little bit of a game kind of feel. And if that goes well, they do anticipate that on this coming road trip that he'll throw an actual bullpen, which is the next step. Before he would go out on a rehab. Now, he'll probably throw a couple bullpens before he goes out on a rehab. At this point, I don't think we see Sir Anthony until after the break. But I do think
smart planning.
Probably,
smart.
Yeah, and probably right after the break, he'll be ready to go. So that's good news. Andrew Painter continues to do his work down in Florida. Just bullpens every other day. I do not think he's thrown more than 30 pitches in a bullpen yet, but I do think the next step is for him to increase that to 45. But he is throwing all his pitches. No complaints in the elbow. So he's continuing to get stronger. They'll stretch him out a little bit more, but they're going to take it very slow with Andrew Painter. So we got to be patient. I don't think we're going to see him anytime soon up here. Whether or not he gets into some game action down there remains to be seen. And then Noah Song, I didn't check his line from last night, to be honest with you, but he did pitch 1 inning in Clearwater last night. It's the second time he has pitched 1 inning in a game down in Clearwater. The first time he had a 1-2-3 inning with, I believe, 1 strikeout. So, this is a guy that hasn't pitched in a couple of years in competitive situations. So just getting him out there on the field and facing live hitters is a win. And they have about 25 more days to figure out what they're going to do with Noah Song before they would have to offer him back.
Now, I was going to say, because he's a Rule 5 pick, so this right now is considered a rehab assignment with him building himself up. And now, after 25 days, they have to make a decision whether to put him on the active roster or they have to offer him back to the team where he was selected from. Isn't that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. Yep. That's exactly right. So, they still have a couple of weeks, and they'll put him through the paces, and they'll see what he can do. And then if they believe he's a piece that might be able to help them not only this season but in the future, then perhaps we see him up here as part of the active roster. If not, then he's going to have to be offered back.
It's incredible the amount of arms that the Phillies have added to this bullpen over the last few years. When they added in Dave Dombrowski to the front office as president of baseball operations, one of the stigmas about Dave Dombrowski was the fact that he never really had like a great bullpen. It wasn't something that he cared much for in every stop along the way. But here we are. I mean, this is something that Phillies fans media members alike, we've been saying for the last 10 plus years. I really, for me, ever since we lost that NLCS to the Giants in 2010, they needed more electric arms in the back end of their bullpen. And they have them. I mean, look, they don't have Sir Anthony Dominguez right now. And you got guys that come out, Craig Kimbrell, Gregory Soto, Jose Alvarado, Junior Marte, even Hoffman. I mean, like, these guys are coming out and they're throwing, 95, 96, 97, 98, in Soto and Alvarado's case, they're throwing triple digits. And then, you got guys that are coming out right now, like Andrew Vasquez. I mean, that guy throws nothing but strikes. But the bullpen has been phenomenal this season for the Phillies.
It really has. And, I think the game has changed, obviously, in the last 10 years or so, where bullpens have become such an important part of championship teams. And I don't think it was always like that. I mean, certainly you needed good arms in the back of the bullpen, but it was really more about starting pitching, back 15, 20 years ago. Nowadays, teams that have great bullpens are the teams that go deep into the postseason and win championships. And I think, Dave Dombrowski, being the baseball guy that he is, has adapted to that and realized how important it is. And in a matter of, a year and a half, maybe 2 years, has rebuilt this bullpen into what is one of the better ones in all of the National League. So it's good to see they got some electric arms out there. And you mentioned Andrew Vasquez. I had him on the pregame show a couple of weeks ago, and we were joking. I said, you got all these guys that throw, 95 to 100 every time out, and then he comes out and he's more in the 89 to 92 kind of range. And he goes, yeah, that's why I'm effective. He said, because they see, all they see is gas. And then I come out and I'm not throwing nearly as hard, but he is throwing strikes, and he's able to be very effective. So, it works. It's been great so far.
Got 1 week left until the All-Star break here. Now, I believe today is the day where they're going to announce the remaining members of the National League and American League All-Star teams. So today should be the day. I know it's a logjam in the outfield in the National League. A lot of players are having great seasons, but the Phillies should be represented by Nick Castellanos in the season that he has given them so far. He is the team MVP offensively for this lineup so far this year. I would be extremely disappointed not to see Nick in Seattle. He has earned it. With all this media scrutiny that he went through last year, to come out and have the season that he's had through the first 3 months of this year, it is well deserved to see Nick Castellanos in Seattle next week for the All-Star game and representing the National League and the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah, and I think that's what we will see. I'd be surprised if Nick didn't make the team. I know, outfield is a tough position to make as an All-Star just because there's so many good outfielders out there. But no, to your point, Nick has been terrific all season long, and he's a deserving All-Star this year for sure, and really the most deserving Philly to make and that's not always how it works, but hopefully it does work this year in that regard. Rob Thompson's going to be the manager of the National League team. The coaching staff is headed to Seattle. You would think there'd be a little bit of influence. He doesn't get to pick anybody, but you would think that if the folks that are making those selections might say, hey, Skip, what are you thinking? Is it Nick? And I think Rob would probably say, yeah, at this point, Nick is probably the most deserving. And who knows? The Phillies might get, more than one headed out there to Seattle. I mean, I think about Alvarado certainly got a shot. Craig Kimbrel's got a shot to be on the All-Star team.
Bryson Stott.
Offensively. Yeah, Bryson Stott too. And all of these guys have an opportunity or a chance to be there. But I do think Nick is probably the most deserving.
Absolutely. All right, so let's get around the league here for the next 5-6 minutes before we head into our second break. I crunched these numbers the other day. What in the world is going on in San Diego this season? Since advancing to the NLCS last year against the Phillies, they are a combined, and this is including them losing in 5 in that series. They are combined 39-49 since that moment in time, since game 1 of the NLCS. They are 11 and a half games out of first place in the National League West and 8 games out of the final wild card spot in the National League. What is going on with the Padres and all of that talent that they have on that roster?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have an answer. I mean, we broke the Padres, which is kind of cool. But,
and the Cardinals.
Yeah, we destroy squads.
We couldn't break the Braves.
Well, we might need some help breaking the Braves. They're pretty tough. It just goes to show you that, first of all, just having an expensive roster does not necessarily mean you're going to win. You have to have. Oh,
we're diving into that next. We're diving.
Well, I mean, but the Padres are as equally. When you look at the Padres and the Mets, they are so similar in terms of the disappointment with the amount of money that they have put into their rosters and where they are right now. Now, look, there's still a half a season to play, and there is a ton of talent on both of those teams. So I hesitate to put the death knell on them quite yet. However, they have a lot of work to do and a lot of teams to jump over if they're going to get back to this wild card race. So it'll be interesting to see. I wish I had an answer as to what the Padres issue is. It's just, baseball's one of those games. It's not like football, and it's not. You can almost chalk up the 4 top teams in the NFL every year and the NBA and probably maybe not the NHL as much, but baseball, it's just there's always teams that you think are going to be here and are here, and that you think are going to be down here and are up here. So it's remarkable to watch, and they'll be the first team that comes in after the break here in Philadelphia. So hopefully they stay down for a little while.
Did you select the Mets to make the playoffs in your picks this year?
I believe I did. Yeah.
I believe you did, and I said no. Well, and man, that rotation they're like 26th in baseball this season. So but 18 and a half. They went into June 3.5 behind the Braves. They're 18 and a half games out of first place now in the National League East. They're 9 games out of the final wild card spot. And this right here, this is baffling right now. Okay, the A's, $40 million payroll, while the Mets have a Major League Baseball record-setting $364 million payroll in 2023. The A's went 9-16 in June, while the Mets went 7-19. Justin Verlander said this week, quote, "I don't think anyone saw this coming." Chris Sack of Green Legion Radio and Bud Light Baseball Brunch saw this coming.
Did you really see it this much of a demise for them? I mean,
average age of your starting pitching staff was 73 coming into the season. I mean, I did see, the demise of Verlander. Now Scherzer against the Phillies is a different animal, different beast, but he hasn't been that great against other teams. But it's incredible to see what the Mets have been, what kind of mess they've been this season, especially that 8th inning meltdown that they had against the Phils last Sunday.
Yeah. And they did lose a huge part of their team going into the season. Losing Edwin Diaz, he was a guy that shortened games for them, and they obviously miss him tremendously. But it's remarkable because you think about Pete Alonso and the season he's having, very good season, and it's just the rest of them can't get their act together, or we can't consistently get their act together. So it's must be very frustrating if you're a Mets fan, but I'll tell you what, it's extremely entertaining for my seat. So.
So we're getting a preview right now of today's national anthem singer.
Yes,
She sounds really good.
Well, so let me tell you, it is Miss Teen USA that is singing the national anthem today, and she's being accompanied by Miss America on the violin. So they're both down on the field right now, rehearsing. Yeah, and so it's a little star power bringing the anthem to us today.
I love it. Maybe they were the ones. Maybe they were the ones that were screaming at Bryce earlier.
No. They were not.
Hey, real quick before we head to break, I'd like to wish everybody a happy belated Bobby Bonilla Day from the Bud Light Baseball Brunch crew and everybody from Green Legion Radio. The 60-year-old Bonilla collected another $1.19 million from the Mets yesterday and has another 12 years left of payments coming his way, which is another $14.3 million through 2035. The Mets turned a $5.9 million retained salary into $29.8 million over 25 years, according to Spot Track on Twitter. Incredible. He's making $500,000 from the Orioles every July 1st too, Murph.
Hey, you know what? I wish I had his agent. Good for Bobby Bonilla. It's one of those stories that, comes up every year, and we all react to it at some level. And my take on that is good for Bobby Bonilla. I don't know Bobby. I don't think I've ever had an opportunity to talk to him, but he made himself a good deal. He was smart. And you know what? Let's spread this out, and we're gonna do it again. By the way, let's spread it out, and keep me in a pension of $1 million and $1.2 million or whatever it is every year. God bless him. I wish I had his age.
See, this is what you get. You don't get this anywhere else on any other program in the Delaware Valley when it comes to baseball talk. This is why we're your preeminent baseball source. You get in-stadium reactions such as this with Murph being on the broadcast. And I got Slash standing up. He took his hat off. He's got his hand over his heart. Yeah, I'm just happy that Slash is not a communist.
Yeah. And I also should be doing the same thing. We often, we have the rehearsal here every day. They rehearse at this time every day. And most often it's, everyone knows it's a rehearsal and folks are doing their jobs and getting their work done. I do feel a little bit disrespectful not standing up at this moment, but there's work to be done here.
Yeah,
we will certainly pay the respect that it deserves come game time.
No doubt about it. I got to make sure. I was going to take off my hat, but I don't think anybody wants that glare coming off my head. But hey, listen, the Green Legion, we're here to tell you it's time to make your reservations for another amazing Eagle season. Head to greenlegion.com to get signed up for Tampa, Kansas City, Dallas, and Seattle, and get signed up for day trip games for the Jets, the Giants, and the Commanders. Make sure you check out the Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club bus for those day trips as well. Go to greenlegion.com or call 215-666-5940. That's 215-666-5940. 20 years and counting for the best Eagles road trips around. Also, Green Legion is going to be doing a Phillies trip to London next season. Will we be able to see Bud Light Baseball Brunch, brought to you by Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, from London, from across the pond? It might be a possibility, and I would love to see that. I'll have to talk to Quimby about that one for sure. And my wife would love to do that trip as well. Coming up on the other side, I believe Murph made up some ground in our standings last week, and I feel dirty for it. That's why I'm going to have to try and make a rebound today on 102.5 Fox Sports The Gambler. Bud Light Baseball Brunch brought to you by Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club. We'll be right back after these messages.
Yeah, I think what you wrote in the script is wrong, by the way.
What's that?
I think what you wrote in the script is wrong. You said I only got a point last week. I got more than that.
No. I didn't put that down. Hold on. No. I updated the standings accurately.
No, I think you updated the standings
okay.
right. I think you just wrote that I only got a point.
Yeah, my bad. But I do have the accurate standings and points.
I know.
So it's there.
Not complaining, just telling.
It's funny because we were joking around about you were deciding on that over-under 7.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it's probably going to be a 1-0 game while it being 2-0.
Yep. That line was telling us something.
It was definitely
Oh, you're
talking.
fine. Stand wherever you want. Mike Tuberosa in the house, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. The engineer?
Yes. Did you hear the anthem? Did you get it's Miss America playing the violin, and Miss Teen America singing.
Who is it?
And she had a gorgeous voice. I mean, gorgeous. Yeah, unbelievable.
Did you text me our list?
Yeah, this one's impressive.
Yeah, I just saw someone down there dressed up with a violin walking.
Yeah,
You got a list.
yeah, it's Miss America.
I like it a lot. Yeah, but that's why I do it.
It's really hot.
It's steamy in here.
Larry's in there sweating already.
Is the office
The
on?
longer the list, the better.
Oh,
The better it looks, the better it sounds.
Dude, it's sweltering. I was like, yeah, it's not even your reaction yet. He goes, no, it's just.
Yeah, they're
I
not.
don't know if you
We were just remarking.
Well, I'm
23
probably
runs.
not going to put that out there because normally if we say it on the show, yeah.
So, and yesterday it felt like 4 hours.
I
After we
agree.
scored 19,
It felt long,
it felt forever.
but it wasn't.
No, but it's funny how it doesn't take that long to get that program. Can you imagine if we went back to 3 hours and 48 minutes in a 7-4 game against the Nats?
Nope.
It does affect the broadcast, though. Like I noticed it too. Especially the college is the same way. They have it. It's really hard to get the story. Actually, you know what? Like,
Go home and hit the Peloton and then
just kind of concentrate.
Lunch.
Yeah.
I was thinking that on the way home.
Filling all that time. I
taking the
agree.
boys out to a playground today in Medford, and then take them out to dinner.
I hope that brings the game back. It doesn't matter to me. I'm watching it.
Right.
You just have some fun with them this week.
I think it'll help.
Well, it's definitely fun.
40 seconds.
Ooh, Clement's got options today.
Yeah.
David Brenner put Barry Bonds.
That's not winning.
First,
First,
don't leave anybody out.
first of all, it's Brenner,
Any power.
and he put Barry Bonds.
It's nice to have his position.
That right there is just double death nail.
That's the last decade there.
15.
Especially over at first base.
First base, it's funny. First base and left field have been susceptible.
Brzezinski,
Yeah, going all the way.
Matthews, Burrow.
Who are you?
Yeah, and then Schwarber puts right in. He may actually have better range than everybody except for Sarge.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Final segment on this muggy Sunday in the Delaware Valley. As we lead you in Phillies Nationals this afternoon, 1:35 with the man right now in the Phillies rotation, even though Taiwan Walker has played, he's pitched really well, but Ranger Suarez on the mound today. Happy 247th birthday to America as we get the trumpets right now headed on. Sounds great. That's Miss America that's playing that.
Nope. No, this is a trumpet now, so this is another
okay.
gentleman. This
Okay,
is
that'll
God
be the
Bless
seventh
America.
inning. Yeah.
Yeah.
God bless America. All right. Getting all the tryouts here right now on Bud Light Baseball Brunch.
We're rolling
which
it
is
out.
Hey, it is summertime. Summer's in full swing. Make sure you guys get down to Sea Isle City to check out our friends over at the Ludlam Hotel. Yes, that's right. The old La Casa at 4000 Landis Avenue in Sea Isle City. The renovation finished. You will now see a brand new look, feel, and vibe set amongst a casually sophisticated bar, a cozy a la carte dining room, and the only mellow lounge in Townsend Inlet. Make sure you guys check them out. LudlamHotel.com. That's Ludlam, Ludlam, hotel.com, or call them at 609-263-7829. That's 609-263-7829 for all your reservation, dining, or entertainment questions. The Ludlam Hotel, your new oasis in Sea Isle City. All right, let's go ahead. Let's get to it. Let's give these tickets away for the Phillies Giants on August 21st. And the topic this week is your favorite athlete growing up as a kid, or in Murph's case, a 29-year-old kid when he was still hanging out doing beer bongs down at St. Joe's. So yeah, good stuff. So we gave we gave our picks earlier. Murph is going to give us the remaining portion of his top 5.
All right, so I gave you Greg Luzinski already. He was my favorite player growing up, starting at about 9 years old. When Greg left the Phillies, the guy that came in to replace him became my favorite player, and that happens to be another friend of mine now, which is kind of remarkable. Gary Matthews, the Sarge, when he came in '83 and was such a big part of that team that went to the World Series. I just loved the way he played. I loved his bravado and his attitude. And so Gary Matthews was the next guy after Luzinski for me. And so they're both on my list. And
Sarge,
and I was lucky enough. Yeah.
Sarge is one of the coolest dudes. One of the coolest guys. I mean, like he let us wear his World Series ring. God, this is probably about 7-8 years ago now. We were playing giant Jenga with him and Milt Thompson over at Xfinity Live. Great guy, great dude. Loved him as a broadcaster too. He was always a joy, always a pleasure, and he just loved that draw. Well, it's just great stuff with him.
So much fun to be around. All right, so they're my 2 baseball guys of my top 5, and I have 2 football guys. And now I'll go back to 9-year-old Murph, and my favorite Eagle was Ron Jaworski. I loved Ron. I went to training camp with my uncle and my cousin, I believe before the 80 season, or maybe it was right after the 80 season. And I got his autograph on the jersey I was wearing, which was his jersey. And I'll never forget that. And, Ron obviously still very much a big part of the sports community here in town. And I've had the opportunity to be with him many, many times. And I hosted his golf tournament for years. The Ron Jaworski Celebrity Challenge. I was the host of that on television, so I got to know Ron, and as an adult as well. But Ron was one of my favorite players growing up, and quarterback of your team.
I'm noticing a theme here. There's a trend on this week's show. It's people that you befriended later on in your life.
Yeah, well, not the next 2. So there you go. That trend is now over, because the next guy was Randall Cunningham. So Randall was obviously much after Ron, and I was in high school at the time, and then college when Randall was playing, and just obviously, the ultimate weapon, right? I just loved to watch him play. The Eagles were pretty good for the first time in a long time when he was there. If he hadn't gotten hurt that one season, I guess that was 91. If he hadn't got hurt in 91, there's a chance that they get to the Super Bowl that year. So Randall Cunningham, and I will tell you that when I was a senior in high school, somehow, some way, I did not have a limousine for my senior prom, and my buddy had a connection through his mom with Randall Cunningham. Actually, with Randall Cunningham's limo driver, and Randall gave us his limousine for the night, and called us in the limousine.
Dude, that's
phone
awesome.
in there. Yeah, and he was like, "Hey, I just wanted to tell you guys have a great time." So that was kind of cool as well. But I loved Randall before that, and he just kind of showed what kind of guy he was as well by helping out a bunch of kids around prom time. So, and then finally, this is the one that goes into my adult years. But my favorite athlete over the last 20 years has been Tiger Woods, and I just, I was just getting into golf when he burst onto the scene, and watching Tiger play. It was like watching Jordan play. It was like, watching the greatest player of more than a generation, one of the best to ever play. And so Tiger, to me, is always going to be on my list because what he did for the game of golf and what he did for my love for the game of golf is off the charts. So Tiger is on my list as well.
Nothing like Tiger wearing red on Sundays for a major. Yeah, it was incredible.
To this day.
Yeah.
To this day, still.
Yep.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. All right, so let's run down the list here. We've got a nice hefty list this week. All right, so here we go. Tony Taylor, Michael Jack Schmidt, Kurt Schilling, Scottie Pippen, Bo Jackson, Mia Hamm, Ken Griffey Jr., Larry Boa, Nolan Ryan, Allen Iverson, Randall, Kobe, Eric Lindros, Mark Spitz.
Wow, what a list!
Yeah,
Mark
and we
Spitz.
had a couple others. A couple others said Dutch and B-Doc, but obviously we've already expunged on them. So this is the list that we're going off of right now. Who are you thinking? Who are you leaning on?
There are so many that you could pick from those lists, but my decision's already made up because someone named one that was on my list, and that's Randall Cunningham. So I'm going to have to go with Randall.
All right. So for me, I'm going to have to go Eric Lindros. Eric Lindros is
Great
the reason why I love the Flyers. And then it carried on through Simone Gagne and Claude Giroux. And now, hey, Mishkov, I saw you had, Oliver Bonk on with you yesterday. So that's good stuff. I love seeing that. So I go Lindros. Murph goes Randall. You're the tiebreaker.
Well, I know where this is going.
Going Randall. I knew he would go Randall.
Really?
He went Randall. He's not a hockey guy. If I would have said AI, he probably would have said AI. Yeah, okay. No doubt about it. Yeah. So
AI probably is right up there for me. So yeah.
Congratulations, Sean Henderson. I don't have to go far to get your email address. It was Sean. You sent me the list. All right, so let's get to our picks for Sunday's action today. I'm in a downward spiral right now. The last few weeks I've gone 1 and 2 every single week. I got lucky on that under last week, 8.5. For the Mariners and the Orioles, while Murph went 2-1 last week, and it's not just like he got 2 points; he hit his underdog, which we were laughing about during break because the over/under you were leaning, saying that under 7 looked too good to be true. I said it was probably going to be a 1-0 game. Wound up being a 2-0 Marlins victory over the Pirates. But hey, nonetheless, in the standings, we're tied 18-12 right now. But I still have a 1.5 on you, as I have 23, you have 21.5. Can Murph overtake the lead this week? Murph, give me your first pick.
Yeah, I'm just reeling you in. You got cocky. I'm reeling you in. I love it.
Hey, man, we got the Marlins over the next week. So, yeah, reel me in as we reel in the fish.
There you go. All right, so I'm going to start with my underdog, and I'm going to take it's the Orioles and the Twins playing today. And I think and the Orioles are at home. And I think most people would think maybe the Orioles would be favored in this. They're not. Twins are favored.
Sonny Gray's
won
pitching.
The first. Yeah, I know. But Twins won the first 2 games. It's hard to sweep a team, especially at home. Getaway day for the Twins. The Orioles are staying put. So the Orioles are plus 105. I'm taking the Orioles as my underdog.
The Orioles also haven't scored in this series. They lost 7-0 and 1-0 in back-to-back days. And Swerving Cole Irvin is pitching for the Orioles today. I'm going to go with my favorite to start out. I'm going to take the Dodgers minus 195 at Kansas City. Tony Gonsolin versus Brady Singer, who's probably one of the worst starting pitchers in Major League Baseball. I'm going to take the Dodgers to take down the Kansas City Royals in Kansas City today. Give me your second pick.
I can't believe that's only 195, to be honest. All right.
I'm sorry. I'm waiting for your favorite. Last week you had a minus 190 with the Phillies.
All right. I'm going 195 too, but I think this one makes a little bit more sense. Toronto over the Red Sox. The Red Sox are looking for a sweep as well. They've won the first 2 games in this one, but Toronto is the favorite this afternoon. Gausman is pitching for the Blue Jays, and I think that's a big reason why. So they're minus 195, but I'm taking the Blue Jays to beat the Red Sox.
All right, sounds great. My underdog for this week is going to be the Rays, plus 110 at Seattle. Now, I can understand the reason why being underdogs, but they split the first 2 in the series. Luis Castillo is pitching today for Seattle, which is all the reason why is they just a minus 130? That should be a higher line for Seattle today. It should be at minus 150, minus 160. I don't care how good Tampa's been this season. I'm going to take Tampa plus 110 today to win the series in Seattle. Give me your over-under.
All right, over-under today, Rangers and Houston, 2 teams that can really swing the bats. The over-under is 9, which is a high number, but they've been under in the first 2 games of this series. So we got one guy with a 10 ERA on the mound, another guy with close to a 5 ERA on the mound. So I'm going over 9, Rangers and Houston, big offensive explosion down there in Texas.
2-1 Rangers today.
You hope.
Yeah, I do. Actually, I'll take what, 8-0 or a 7-1. Yeah. We'll take that. I'm going over 9 as well. But this one is Giants Mets up at Citi Field. Ross Stripling 0-2 with a 6.88 ERA. David Peterson 2-6 with a 7 ERA. They were 9 even on Friday night. Under yesterday. Take the over tonight. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Two things that we found interesting from this past week in Major League Baseball. Murph, give me your first one.
All right, Ronald Acuna Jr. just is having an outstanding season for the Atlanta Braves, and he's doing things that we've never seen before. How about this? He's the first player in Major League Baseball history with 20-plus home runs and 35-plus stolen bases before the All-Star break.
Jeez.
That's pretty remarkable what he's getting done down there in Atlanta.
No doubt about it. Another guy that's truly special in Major League Baseball, Shohei Ohtani, on Japanese Heritage Night at Angel Stadium, he did the following: 6 1/3 innings pitched, 10 strikeouts, 1 earned run, and at the plate, pretty modest, 3 for 3 for 2 home runs.
Yeah, pretty amazing. But I mean, we could do him every week. It's just ridiculous what he does. All right, this one comes from Sarah Langs, and it also has to do with Shohei Ohtani. Most home runs hit in a calendar month since 1900, who also struck out 30 batters in the calendar month. Okay, so here's your list. June, Shohei Ohtani this year, 15 and 37. 2021, June, Ohtani, 13 and 33. 2023, May, Ohtani, 8 and 44. And 2022, August, yeah, you guessed it, Ohtani, 8 and 31. So, yeah, again, doing things that we've never seen before and probably never see again.
They reported the other day that someone was saying that like 11 years, $550 million, and someone said that's low.
Yeah, I did see that.
It's going to be insane what he's going to get. Domingo Germán for the Yankees pitched a perfect game, which is the first one since 2012. So what happened the last time a perfect game was thrown in 2012? The Astros were still in the National League. Bryce Harper and Mike Trout won Rookie of the Year honors. R.A. Dickey won the National League Cy Young Award. Chipper Jones was in his final Major League Baseball season, and Miguel Cabrera won the American League Triple Crown.
How about that? And I started with the Philadelphia Phillies. That was my first.
And the team went downhill.
Well, we don't talk about that.
What about that Irish luck, Murph?
That's right.
Let's take a look at the week ahead, because we're talking about positive things. We're not talking about Murph's TV tenure with the Phillies when they didn't make the playoffs at all. We're talking about upside ever since he started doing broadcasts with me over the last few years. So let's look at the week ahead. Today's rubber match with Ranger Suarez on the hill against the Nationals. We have an off day on Monday before we start a 6-game road swing to finish off the first half, the unofficial first half of Major League Baseball season, with the 3 against the Rays and 3 in Miami. Big week on the road. Let's get over 500 on the road this season by handling our business both in Tampa and with the Marlins. 4-2 road trip sound good to you?
Yeah, I think 4-2 would be terrific. I think anyone would sign up for that right now. If you escape 3-3, I think you can live with that, especially if the 2 wins are in Miami. More importantly, win in Miami. If you're going to drop a couple of games, drop them in Tampa. It won't affect you as much. Obviously, you're chasing those Miami Marlins. But, 4-2 would be terrific. Give me a sweep in Miami. I'll give you 1-2 in Tampa if you're going to give me a sweep in Miami. But big week. But first things first, don't look past these guys today.
Yes.
Don't be on the airplane at 1:30, right? Be present, get this game, get a win. I believe they will. I don't think there's any chance that they look past the Nationals today. They want to win this series and head off to Florida feeling pretty good about themselves. Off day tomorrow, as you mentioned.
Sounds great. All right, Murph, why don't you get ready for your pregame show coming up? What is it? 1 o'clock is where you're going to be going on air.
That's right.
So finish up getting your prep ready, and hopefully Derek Hall has a nice debut since the beginning of the season when he injured himself against the Yankees. What was that, Game 6 of the season? So welcome back, Derek Hall, to the Phillies lineup for Phillies broadcaster Greg Murphy and Kyle / the Gobbler, the Magic Man, Nunamaker. I'm Chris Sack of Green Legion Radio, and like a 3-1 pitch to Ryan Howard, we are out of here. Everybody enjoy your day, and happy 4th of July to all that celebrate. It's going to be a great day. Beautiful. Make sure you guys take a dip in the pool, but let's go Phillies.
All right, boys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Murph. We'll talk to you. We'll see you from Marlins Park next Sunday.
Sounds good. I'll be there. All right, buddy.
All right, buddy.
See ya.